evening. This is A View from the Bridge, official podcast of the Belfast Giants for kingdomofthegiants.com. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd of February, 2023. My name's Patrick Smith. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and on Twitter. You can also download us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, and a load of your normal podcast providers. On this week's show, well, in 6 days, the Belfast Giants scored 22 goals, conceded 2, shut out 2 teams, accumulated 8 points, moved to the top of the Elite League stands, and sent a wider Elite League fan base into fits of rage with a Mexican wave and a new signing on the roster. As things stand, we're on McLeod 9. We'll get to the game shortly. We'll get to the game shortly. Jeff Baum's our guest, and he'll join us to reflect on what's been going on the last week or two and look ahead, no doubt, to next week. We'll have a bit of news. We'll be going down to training. Mr. Kitchen's been down to training, and this weekend sees a dress rehearsal for the Challenge Cup final as the Giants travel to Fife and also take on the Glasgow Clan. Mr. McGimsey, how you doing?
Up and down, Patrick. I've got to be honest. I went to the fridge today and I'm down to my last bottle of Suki from Christmas. So,
oh no,
I was mum and dad sorted me out with a wee pack of Suki there before I came back, and I'm down to my last blackcurrant one. It says it's on
that wee number there. We bit of Vita's Aid. Do you remember that?
They give them out at Sunday school, you know.
you get them with a kids meal at down in Nins Chippy, down in Cumber, or down in Newton Ards. So I got one today for Sophie.
Brilliant.
For yourself, you're going to drink that yourself?
Yes, I am. She doesn't like fizzy drinks.
Doesn't drink the fizzy drinks. How you doing, Mr. Kitchen?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, it's been busy the last few weeks, and it's not letting up, which is great. You know, it's on and off the ice. We're doing really well.
It is tonight. We'll come to those because what's been happening at the SSE Arena over the last month, let alone what's to come, has been absolutely phenomenal. But we've got a hell of a lot to cover because in the last 6 days or more, last week we've had 4 games to cover. So let's get cracking straight into those. And the Belfast Giants started after a prolonged break due to international and the international tournament they took on the Nottingham Panthers in Nottingham, and they shut them out at home. A 2-0 win for your Belfast Giants. The goals for the Giants coming from Steve Urry and an empty netter for Scott Conway. Tyler Beskorowany with a 27-shot shutout. Peyton Jones facing his former team 39 shots against 1 goal against. Tom Herring and Joe Sewell were the 2 referees. Davy, this game, 2 goals, 1 penalty, and what was a game that was obviously played after a prolonged break.
Yeah, I don't know whether Simon will necessarily agree with me or not. There was, even with just such a short break that we had, of just over a week, there was a little bit of rust in the boys, but they get going. The game could probably have went either way. The Panthers had their chances. Both goaltenders on the night were exceptional, as Besco has been, as we've had really exceptional goaltending out of both our guys over the last sort of week or 2 weeks. But the battle of goaltenders this night, and I think Adam Keefe maybe mentioned about execution, and we just executed one more chance than they did, and Steve Urry with a lovely move in front of Peyton Jones and just be able to go. I think he goes forehand, backhand, rips it, and wins the game for us. And then that second goal on the empty netter, I think Murph and Paul Adey talked about it perhaps being a bit. Panthers are going for a set play with the goalie pool. The Giants are able to read and react, and as soon as they play that to the high man on the point, the Giants press it, and Scott Conway just comes up to the centre blue line and is able to pick it up and shoot it 150, 160 feet in the empty net and make it a 2-0 win. But I think we were worthy of the win. Don't get me wrong. I think we created enough. We had enough opportunities. We forced enough grade A chances in front of Peyton Jones to deserve the win. But 2 good, strong performances from the netminers and defence, of course, and we just executed one more time than they managed to. So, 2 points and got us rolling on Valentine's night.
Well, that's it. And it says, as I said, the referees kept their whistle in their pocket. Only 1 penalty called that whole night. And, the Giants going 5-on-5. We've said 5-on-5, the Giants are a strong team. And so it proved.
Yeah, I mean, Davy's just summarised it really well. And it genuinely could have went either way. The Panthers have been playing better under Corey since he came back in. They've certainly, they haven't been outstanding, but, they've given us troubles this year. And you just got to beat what's in front of you. And that was a professional performance. I mean, obviously, you had Hookie, Laker, Jackson Whistle, Sam Rupp. They were all still away. The boys come back. They got 4 or 5 days off. And then when you come back from holiday, you know what it's like. Even when you come back to go into work from holiday, you're sitting thinking, oh, God, this time yesterday I was sitting there. I was doing this with a pint or whatever it is. And it's sort of, it can get to a point where you're sitting thinking about that stuff. But, Adam obviously got them back on the ice and didn't get a full practice the whole time because everybody, 4 or 5 guys were away. And we did what we had to do. It was a professional performance. Davy, as I say, touched on it and summarized it really well. Big saves from Besco when he had to do it. He's been doing that since he came in. Obviously, losing the first game against the Panthers, 4-3 in a shootout, I think it was back in January. But he's been absolutely incredible in the last month. But he isn't incredible unless everybody in front of him plays well as well. So it's been a great. Last week was a really professional performance against Nottingham, and coming out with 2 points. The lead into Wednesday was really important.
I think that's it. One of the things is I was going to come to this later, but you brought it up, Simon, and I'll throw it to you as well, David. Is that we talked about your 22 goals scored in the 6 days, 2 conceded defensively and goalkeepers, Davy. We've been solid.
Yeah, and that it's easy to say your decor. That comes from the 6 guys out on the ice, not just and then obviously when the penalty kill unit and stuff goes. I just think defensively, the way we play, the aggressive forecheck, the aggressive back check, blocking just an inordinate amount of shots. I guarantee you we lead the league in blocking shots. Now somebody that's in the stats will be able to verify that or not. But we block an inordinate amount of shots. Even that night against Panthers, I think that Coach Eddie and Murph were highlighting it in the period breaks and showing the shot charge and where we're laying the body down in front of the goalies. Pucks that are getting through to Besco, he's stopping. Whistle stopped in Guildford as well. But in the main, we're stopping those shots. We're limiting grade A chances, certainly in and around the house there. We're not giving those really good grade A chances just down in front of the blue paint where the majority of goals are scored for. We're not giving them away. Shots from the outside where they're blocking or Besco's picking out. But that comes from that aggressive sort of, what would you describe it as, sort of swamp defense, swamp attack that we all go together. And what goes in 1s and 2s and 3s, we don't leave anybody. So that comes, all 6 guys in the ice create that defensive core, not just the guys that have the blue line. Simon?
Yeah, absolutely right. You seen how calm and cool Besco is in net. You're just watching the feed, the coverage there now that we have from Vaplay and again, when he's just, I mean, don't get me wrong, Jackson's done really well for us. Jonesy did really well for us as well. Coming, especially in December, Jonesy played really well. And we've been very lucky. But don't forget, when we went through that really difficult period in October and maybe at the beginning of November, I think at one point we're sitting in 6th place. It's just clawed away. And you just take one game at a time. And that's exactly what Adam and the boys and the coaching staff are doing. But it's just it comes down to, collectively, you're basically putting your best foot forward. It doesn't mean, whereas October, November, and Davey will have the stats, obviously, when you're looking at our top line, they were doing most of our scoring. And we were tinkering with who's playing with who and trying to get some chemistry. And then all of a sudden, started to click, started to win. Yes, we made a few changes. They've obviously been for the better. And now I say we've climbed just bit by bit, we've clawed away back against Guildford. I mean, there was people saying a month ago Guildford were going to run away with it. Not anymore.
Absolutely not. Let's hear the thoughts of the head coach. Well, sorry, Adam Keefe and Rick Strachan.
Winning coach, 6 straight wins in league play now, Adam Keefe, and that is a big performance. And we were just saying, it's all well and good to come in here and win games 5-3 or 5-2, but you win an important game here in a tight situation, an uncomfortable situation in many regards in Nottingham, but a big win on the way ice.
Yeah, that's huge. I thought I liked our effort. I thought we were skating well. I thought the execution was off probably for both teams, and that's probably to be expected after the break. So we knew it was going to be a tight game, and we knew that we needed to come out and play the right way in the third period there, and hope that when we got our chance that we took it, and that was a big goal by O'Ree.
Well, I know teams always like to get a few power plays. You didn't really get that opportunity in this game, but
in some respects, it allowed some of your top forwards to play a lot of power play minutes to have a lot of legs left in that third period.
Yeah, certainly. I think, the lack of special teams in that game, sometimes as a coach, I prefer that. Let the players decide a 5-on-5. I thought the referees did a good job. I thought both goaltenders were great tonight. And really it came down to one execution there by Ori on a nice shot. And then, obviously we had to kill off the rest of that game. They had their opportunities. They hit the crossbar a couple times. So it could have went either way. Corey has that team turned around in a hurry, and they're a difficult team to play against.
I was going to ask you about Steve Ori, because this is a guy that's certainly added some secondary scoring, up to 17 goals now on the season. He's got 6 on the power play. So he's been a real nice secondary piece when you look at some of the high-end, the big guns like Conway and Goodwin.
Yeah, even when he's not scoring, he's getting those opportunities. He's working hard. He's doing the little things right. And so, it's just a matter of time before they start falling in for him. And he's usually a guy that's pretty streaky, so I thought he might have got another one there. As he get going, you see a little pep in his step after he scores a goal, so that's usually why he ends up with a few more.
I thought Cullen at the back had an exceptional game, not just offensively but defensively, cutting off some of those passes, taking some good scoring opportunities away from the Panthers.
Yeah, Cole, he's the last half year, he certainly has stepped it up a notch defensively, but also offensively. He's a real threat out there. He makes great reads, but yeah. All right.
Adam Keefe just heard something from the director there. Think about my life, Adam Keefe. For 3 hours, I hear voices in my ears throughout, and I'm trying to decipher what the next move is. How about the next move for you guys? The Guildford Flames are now tied on 59 points with the Guildford Flames, but they have 2 games in hand. So talk about your next matchup with Paul Dixon's side.
Yeah, it's huge, obviously, and we had probably had one eye on that match, but it was really important that we came in here and got the job done tonight, and we knew it was going to be difficult. It hasn't been an easy place for us to come into. I'm just happy that we gutted that one out, and defensively I thought we were pretty sound for the most part, and we needed to be, and Besko was there. He was huge when we needed him and counted on him. And tomorrow we're going in against a fresh Guildford team. We're going to need to be even better than we were tonight, and we're going to need to execute.
Well, head coach Adam Keefe of the Belfast Giants, a 2-0 victory on away ice this evening. Thanks for taking the time to join us. Best of luck in Guildford, and we'll see you March 1st for the Challenge Cup final.
No problem, guys.
As assistant coach Rick Strachan post-game after Belfast. And Rick, it was a close one.
Yeah, it was a very tight hockey game. I think both teams played really good defense. Not a lot of space in the neutral zone. It was a playoff game.
Yeah, there was something we mentioned on commentary, Dan and myself. It was playoff, perhaps not without that playoff intensity, but is that the sort of game that you need leading into the postseason?
Well, first of all, you got to take care of your own zone, and I thought we did a pretty good job of keeping them to the outside. And Jonesy played a great game tonight, and he stopped everything that was thrown at him by bar one. But no, you know what? You got to be successful. You got to play good defense, and they played really good defense. So it was going to be a tight game to start off with.
A blow when Adam Brady went off the ice. Can you give us an update on how he is?
No, right now he's still in the medical room getting evaluated, and I guess once the doctor and the physio decide what to tell us, they'll tell us.
And how did you see the game overall tonight? Again, a very tight game, but just, I suppose, a battle of two netminders.
Yeah, both goalies are really good. They're they're the 2 biggest guys out in the ice, and there's not a lot of net to shoot at, but. I thought the first period, I thought we came out and we played very well. We had a few scoring chances, and unfortunately their goalies made some big saves. The second period, I thought they had some momentum and some possession, but not for the whole period. I think we got it back, and then the third period, I think they came out there and they're a bit stronger. We really couldn't get out of our zone. They pressured us hard, and finally they broke us down, and they scored the 1 goal that was the game.
Big thanks to Viaplay and to Panthers TV for the interviews. You can get the highlights. I think you can get the highlights from Panthers TV. I know that they put their own their own commentary squad on the game, even though the game is live with Murph and Paul Ealey. But check out Nottingham Panthers website for that. And we crack on because the Belfast Giants travel from Nottingham down to Surrey to take on the league leaders, who were still the league leaders at that point. The Giants and the Flames were level on points, but the Flames held the top spot due to the fact they played fewer games. it didn't end that way. The Belfast Giants took the top spot in the Elite League with a 6-1 victory at the Spectrum. Goals for the Giants come from Long, Bast, Conway, Cooper, Hook, and Bast again. Ryan Tate with the only goal, the opening one of the game for the Guildford Flames. Tyler Beskorowany, 25 shots on, 1 goal against. Eamon McAdam, the other side, he also had 25 shots on, 6 goals against. Stephen Hogarth and Steve Matthews were your referees. Says the Giants went in with purpose and took their rewards.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's sort of like the night before for Guildford. So Guildford came out, started okay. You know, they got the way it's going. Obviously, got the first goal, and the Giants, you know, they basically then took over because when you're away with the likes of, you know, for 8 or 9 days, and again, I know that Guildford players were away because some of them actually flew out of Belfast the previous Sunday when we played them, and then, you know, they were straight off on holiday. That can interrupt the flow of a team as well, and it can go 2 ways. Obviously, you know, you got anybody's injured, you hope they get them back as soon as you get going again. But you know, they come out, they started really well. They got that first goal of the night. And that's the only one they got, because then we just took over. We scored at a really crucial time right at the end of the first period when Gabe Bass got I think it was a go-ahead goal. I think he got the second goal, and then we just took over. We dominated the second period, dominated most of the third. Besko, yeah, he made a couple of saves. That's what he's supposed to do, but he really wasn't that busy. When I know he got a few shots on target, but he really wasn't. There not many grade A's from memory that you really stood out. I remember watching the game. I was in the hotel in Dublin the night before I picked up Matt McLeod. Was in the hotel in Dublin, and I was keeping an eye on that and keeping an eye on the Sheffield Steelers and Fife Flyers game. But I thought we played really, really well. Unfortunate to obviously lose a couple of bodies through, I was going to say injury, but officiating, if you want to put it that way. You know, that wasn't the best performance all night that the Stripies had. You know, there was a lot of talk about why Ben Lake was thrown out and why Ferguson was thrown out. I genuinely think it was obviously it was 5+ game, wasn't it, Davey?
Yep.
5+ game for
calm the flow of the game down. And if that was the case, again, it didn't work. There was a bad hit on David Goodwin in the corner by McNulty. Then Lalonde jumped Sam from behind. So it got a bit aggravated that way. However, another professional performance. You know, there's not many teams are going to go into Guildford and score 6 past them. Great to see McAdam lose the head, run after Hookie. Fantastic, love it. And you know, again, we absolutely dominated them, and they played really well this season. They're a good team, but I keep on saying it. So are we. We're a good team as well, and that just showed last Wednesday night. Interesting,
but I think you're absolutely right in the fact that, you know, that McAdam lost the head. The Guildford Flames lost the head because I said this before in the game in Belfast. It's when things aren't going their way, they lose their rag, and things start to get a lot more physical. And unfortunately, you know, we took a number of knocks that came away from that game that sort of affected our roster going forward. But, you know, you see at the end of the second, you know, Markland gets 2+5+ game. You know, Locke gets 2+5+10. Of course, Coops gets 5+ game for spearing. Davey, it turned into a bit of a nasty affair.
If the Guildford Flames can keep you tight, as most of the previous game that we played in the semi-final of the Cup was a bit of a blowout for us. Once we got ahead, we ran out that 4-0. I think it finished. But all the other games have been really tight, and when Guildford keep it tight, they're a very good team. When it opens up and they have to go run and gun with us, they can't live with us. We've got too much offensively for them. The power move by Grant Cooper, I think it's possibly the 4th goal, is like the clinch of the game's probably over slightly before that. Then we obviously were running into a bit of penalty trouble as well. The referees calling penalties for celebrations and stuff after. And that came from, I think it's Hookie gives a bit of a celebration, might say something to McAdam in the way past or whatever, and Ferguson takes something, says it's not in there. Okay, he says something to McAdam on the way past, and it obviously creates a little bit of a scrum at the bench. I don't think that Ben Lake particularly did much wrong to get thrown out of the game, to be honest, but like he got, as Simon says, probably to try and calm the whole thing down, then we'll score almost immediately again. Very good. I think twice in the special teams have scored at least 2 power play goals that night. Commentators cursed. The commentators saying, you know, Giants have lost every first period. Bang, bang. Giants win the first period. Giants haven't. Blah, blah. But anyway, goes that way, Simon will tell you, commentators curse sometimes a disaster. But I think this was a real strong performance. Could have went the other way, going down to that early goal. This team has character and spades that just came along. I think it's the first goal. It might be, closing my eyes to remember here. I think Longer steps off the left half wall, steps in. This is coming up here, is it?
As if by magic.
And gets us back in the game. Then we get that power play just before the end of first period. I think Gabe Bass comes up. It's a bit of a set move. Is that the one where Conway draws it straight to him and he's one-timer to make it 2-1. So we'll go in. It's completely different dress. Both dressing rooms are completely different. Instead of Guildford being pumped up, 1-0 up, whatever, it's completely flipped. We're buoyant. We'll come out in that second period and we'll just go to town on them. There's a lot of real high skill players. There's a lot of opening up straight down the middle, but passes coming in from the half wall. The really open guys going through the middle. You cannot, as defensively, allow the opposition's D-man to step in and have a grade A chance from the high slot. You just can't defensively do that. So we played really well. We deserved the win. We probably deserved it to be that lopsided as well. Completely heads going. There's the lovely set play from Conway to Gabe Bast, who's in a real rich vein of form. Like, player of the month will be coming up at the end of this week, and Gabe Bast again will be in the running for that. He's 100%. Been superb.
Is that the Simon? Is that the goal where Gabe Bast gets subsequently sent to the box for unsportsmanlike behaviour?
No, that was the last goal. Can you
believe it?
No, I couldn't. I watched it back. I spoke to Gabe, and he's an honest lad. Like, he is an honest lad. I mean, he got a penalty a few weeks ago for saying something to the official, and he told me exactly what he said to the official. You can't do that. But what he said last Wednesday night, there's absolutely no need to give him a penalty at all. And to be honest, I can't remember who it was. Stefan Hogarth that had the hand up before, even before the puck went in the net. He was going to give him a penalty. So it's disappointing that I understand the officials have a hard time. I get that, and it's a tough game. It's a fast game, and things happen. But let the boys play. Just let them get on with it. If there's two guys want to have a scrap, just let them beat the lamps out of each other. It gets everybody off their seat. Everybody off their seat. Let them get on with it. And
game's changing though, man. Game's changing though.
I understand that.
And it's the fact that you're going to lose players. It's the instigator penalty as well. You're going to lose players to that, and nobody wants to take that chance.
Again, I understand that, but it's exciting. I mean, I know we had a bit of trouble a couple of years ago with somebody giving off about it in the radio, but let me tell you something. See, as soon as there's a fight in the ice, it's like there's a goal, because everybody in the arena is up on their feet watching it. It's part of our game. Yes, it's not as prevalent and not as prominent as it used to be, but let them get on with it. And you know what? I mean, I don't know if you've seen James McLean was basically, he put
talking about fighting in the game. Yeah,
he said about football, let them get on like ice hockey. You can't do that in football. I understand that. But look, again, we could sit here and have a conversation about why things are going official wise. I know they've got a hard game, a hard job to do. I get that, but just let them get on with it.
Before we hear from the two coaches, just briefly, Davy, this was a game against the league leaders. Yes, they've got games in hand, but this was a game against the league leaders to go top of the league, and we were comprehensive in the victory. What sort of marker is that for the Belfast Giants?
It's great. The first time we played there, I think this season, October time, as Simon says, we're stuck in a bit of a funk. We were not really getting scoring from here, there, and everywhere. We weren't going well. We got beaten in a very close game. A game we didn't start well. At that time, actually, that's triggering bad memories of, we went through a few weeks where we didn't start games well, and we didn't then have the firepower to come back. Games perhaps now that we're not starting so brilliantly at times, we are getting that scoring to come back. But Scott Conway was getting absolutely pelted on the way off the ice at the end, and he looked up at the guy in the front row and he says, "I'll see you here the last time we'll come here this season. See where we all are." And we walked off the ice at the top of the league. So yes, they've got a few games in hand, and we always go that old games in hand, points in the bag. Where would you rather be? Which team would you rather be sitting in which position at this? But you can only do what we can do, and we've played those games and we've put those points and those goals on the board. We're sitting where we're sitting. We're there to be shot at now rather than them to be shot at. So it's now game on. So, Scott Conway was right back in October. Let's see where we are in January or February.
Here. Right, let's hear from the coaches. I'll come back to you with this one, Sis, as we go on to the other games, but let's hear from the two coaches.
Yeah, tough loss at home. Obviously, nowhere near the performance that we were after. The first period, I thought we were good. Came out hard, started on time. We spoke about that. Scored first, and then I think the turning point was that goal at the end of the first period, and I think the momentum shifted there. And we worked so hard at doing all the good stuff in the first, and then we came out in the second, and it was a total reverse. We just didn't execute all the things that we were supposed to do, and I think credit to Belfast. I think some of the finishers were clinical, but we give them a bit of time and space in our defensive zone, and that can't happen against a very good team who will hurt you, and that's what it was. And obviously, a little bit of pushback in the third, but nowhere near enough.
I thought we started the game quite slow, and just in terms of our execution, I thought. And then obviously they got that goal, but I liked our guys just kept pushing there, and then all of a sudden when we started to click, we started to feel a lot better, and got some goals there, and kind of the game kind of got out of hand there, and then it kind of got pretty sloppy. There was, I'm not sure about their bench, but our bench was pretty short there for about half of that game. So we just want to get out of there unscathed and very happy with the win.
And Adam Keefe and the Flames TV. The highlights are on Flames TV. And here, before we get on to the next game, came the signing of Matt McLeod, a 26-year-old centre come right winger from Mississauga in Ontario. It was a body that was badly needed after that game in Guildford, and the number of bodies that went out due to injury or just a few knocks in that game. And so he was put straight into the lineup as the Giants hosted the Glasgow Clan. And bang, in front of 7,104 people. Outstanding. East Tier was in, an outstanding crowd at the SSE Arena. The Giants fired 8 by the Clan. Cooper, McLeod on his debut, Bast, Lake, Hook, again Hook, Grant Cooper, and Steve Arey rounded out the 8 goals. Jackson Whistle with a 20-shot shutout. On the other side, John Muse lasted 25 minutes, 18 shots on, 4 goals against before Ty Taylor came in. 17 shots on, 4 goals against. He lasted 35 minutes. Andy Dalton and Danny Ferguson were the referees for the weekend. Davy, we pounded them.
Yeah, came out in that first period. Just the 1-up. Probably could have came out a wee bit more on the positive side of things. Obviously, having travelled twice in midweek and coming off that layoff, but as a few of the boys said, coming out onto that ice and having 7,000 people in the arena, it really. You talk about the extra man. I don't know, because I've never played there, but any of the boys you talk to there said it really gave them that extra step in their stride to go out and put on a performance, and it did. Matt McLeod, obviously coming away the man of match, getting a goal and stuff, and super fast. And I think Simon, and it was Gary was on with you on Saturday night. Simon talked about his explosive bang. He's obviously got really good wheels when he gets going, but that first 5-10 yards, boom, boom, and he's gone. He's just got that real extra spark and pace. And I think Simon will probably talk about this more, but to be able to bring somebody in at this stage of the season, coming up to the signing deadline, we have a few bodies down. There was illness as well on Saturday night. Obviously, a couple of guys missed out as well. But with what happened to us last year, the last game away to Sheffield, and Kevin Rain goes down and makes that big block, ends up missing the rest of the season. Jordan Boucher missed the playoffs for us. 2 key players, 2 bodies down. If you can afford it and you've got space in the roster and you've got those import slots that's still available to you, and you don't use them at this stage of the season, well, then that would say that's bad organisation to me. I'd rather be sitting, and Adam Keefe would rather be sitting with 2 extra guys in the locker room and having to disappoint them and say, guys, you aren't playing, than being 2 guys short and going in and coming up just short of silverware. So, it's an astute move from the organisation. These games have a habit then. I also seen people are so spoiled, and 8-0 is absolutely sensational, and you see people saying it was a bit of a bore. I loved it. I loved the Mexican wave. I loved us just piling the foot on the throat kind of attitude. chasing Muse from net, Ty Taylor coming in and sticking forward past him. I love that kind of stuff. I'm not as big a fan of putting the foot on the throat in an away arena if you're running it up because you're in front of the home fans. You're in Belfast. You're there to put on a show for 7,000 people. You keep the foot in the throat and you keep going to the 60th minute. And I think that there was an element of, and I switched to Sunday sort of towards the end of the second period into the third period where we thought we now can preserve legs, we can shorten shifts. There wasn't too many special teams going on in the game, so everybody was able just to get rolled out there and we're able to save the energy for going into the next day.
It was the second period, says that the Clan will want to forget in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, the first period I actually thought they were okay. I thought they did well. Coming out of it 1-0 down, again, we maybe could have got a couple more, but they were right in the game. 1-0. I remember saying to Gary, it's not convincing. What's the message going to be in the locker room? And Gary gave his views on Giants TV, and all of a sudden, second period, we come out. I think it was 3 goals in 3 minutes and 5 seconds from the 22nd minute mark when McLeod got his first, and then again there was like a 10-minute gap of nothingness. After you bring the new goalie in, Ty Taylor made a couple of big saves. It looked like they were getting a wee bit of momentum. I think they doubled their shots in the second period and what they had in their first. And again, they had a couple of shots. Jackson made a couple of big saves. Again, he's a goalkeeper. That's what he's paid to do. But then all of a sudden, another 3 goals in 3 minutes, and the tie was dead. 7-0 up at the end of the second period. And I agree with Davey. I'd love to see just putting the foot down, and the team wants to come in here and not put any heart into it, and not, I listened to Dyson Stevenson after the game, the assistant coach, and he just said we were embarrassing. We can't be like that. He said, come the whole way over here, and they brought a few fans with them. We were embarrassing. We should have done a lot better. Not protecting the goalie. John, let's make no mistake about it. John Muse is a top goalie. And he'll have it, he'll have that in the back of his head for this Saturday, which we'll go on to talk about. But we absolutely dominated them with 6 goals in the second period. I mean, it couldn't have went any better. Great to see scoring all around. That line of McLeod, Cooper, as in Mini Cooper, and Donny Niles. They played really, really well both nights over the weekend. And it was great to see the scoring's coming from everywhere. I mean, you score 8 goals at home, and Scott Conway doesn't get one of them. So you're obviously doing something right. But absolute domination. Coming out of it, a couple of injuries, which we'll go on to talk about shortly about the next day, which wasn't ideal. You would have been preferred to come out of it unscathed. And at this stage of the season, it's all about trying to get guys prepared for the next game. Next games are coming very, very quickly. But Adam was very happy. The boys in the room were very happy. And Glasgow went back to Braehead Arena with their tail between their legs.
I was very entertained, not just by this game and how dominant the Giants were and how much in that second period that they did put the game to bed. And I think, especially moving to top of the Elite League as they had, to come home and to put that performance in front of a sellout crowd, again, set the tone. The Giants are starting to purr in the way that they're playing. They're starting to score the goals. They're starting to be defensively strong at exactly the right time of the season. Now, we'll see how that goes coming into this weekend, 2 games away from home and a cup final. We'll see in the next week how the Giants go. But I thought that this game in particular, and the one we're about to come on to, just showed exactly what the Giants could do when they, when the chips are down and we're looking towards the end of the season. This is the time when we should be pounding the goals in the back of the net. And in front of a home crowd, we put 14 of them in, and when we conceded 1. So it's outstanding from the Giants. And a little personal thing, I loved how much the Mexican Wave sent so many fans into meltdown about it being disrespectful. Absolutely, it was disrespectful. Couldn't care less. Was this? And do you know what? If it was disrespectful, what were the Clan doing about it?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to admit now, that's happened 20 years ago. There's a bench clearance.
Of course.
But when was the Mexican Wave brought in? Just in case it didn't happen 20 years ago. But anyway.
Mexico World Cup a long time ago.
1986. Okay. Yeah. I don't remember that far back. Did you probably be able to help us out? Yeah. But the big thing for the Mexican wave, the fans started it. Maybe they were getting a bit bored when he had scored 7 at that point. But again, if that happens 20 years ago, if I'm playing in that game 20 years ago or 15 years ago, I'm pulling somebody off the bench. However, Glasgow didn't want it. See, to be honest, I actually don't even think Glasgow recognised it, because if you watch the bench, they're all sitting on the bench like this with their head down. I don't even think they realised we were doing it. But again, it's a bit of fun. It got the boys up on their feet, because they were getting. They didn't want to go out there and score anymore in the third period, just to keep the score, but show a bit of respect. I think, I agree with Davey. I don't think we put the foot in the throat in the third period, just to try and protect the league and go into the Sunday.
Let's hear from the debutant goal scorer and from Dyson Stevenson at the Clan.
Dyson, difficult always to assess, a game like that immediately afterwards. You'd come in, I think, having won 6 out of 10, but tonight, after what was a pretty good first period, really they really got at you in the second.
Yeah, decent first. Obviously outshot a lot, 12-4 after the first, but after that, I thought 3/4 of our team might as well just stayed home, maybe even including myself, and rested up for tomorrow. It was just no heart. They score a few goals. We put in our backup goalie, who, like I told the guys, hasn't came into my office once all year, barely played, and then we give him that effort. I think it's embarrassing. But yeah, like you said, we're on a little roll until now, and tomorrow's a must-win game against Manchester, a team that we need to find a way to get, points against, and we got to somehow shake this off. We're going to watch video on it, but our focus is tomorrow now.
In a game that finishes 8-0, maybe it's not right to look for a turning point, but had you scored in that 5-on-3 early in the game, and it was a long 5-on-3, then who knows what happens after that?
Yeah, it was. I don't want to take blame on that, but we don't practice it a ton. We don't get many 5-on-3s. But we do practice it, and it didn't work out. I don't even know if we got a shot, maybe one. And like you said, yeah, that could be a turning point. Get up 1-0 early, and then we have them on their heels a little bit. But a disappointing effort. Our power play's been terrible for the last month, and we've been working on it twice a week. So I don't know. We're gonna need some new personnel on there, or just guys that can work hard and get pucks to the net. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Welcome to Belfast. That's quite the reception tonight. We're 7,000 in the building. Is it everything that you expected when you signed in the dotted line?
I mean, I had no idea what to expect coming in, so that was a little bit over the top for sure. That was awesome. The fans were great out there tonight, especially it ended off with the whatever it's called, but yeah, the school. Yeah, that was I'll remember that for the rest of my life. That was amazing.
Listen, I know you've chronicled it already this week, but tell us about the journey to get here.
Yeah, I mean, it was a last minute decision. I was debating coming all year. I really wanted to come, and it just kind of felt like the right time to come, and so made a split second decision and got over here as fast as I could.
Do you know there aren't too many guys that come in score on their debut for the Giants? One man you do follow in the footsteps of who scored in his debut for the Giants was Theo Fleury a few years ago. So it's not a bad list of players you're adding your name to.
I mean, yeah, that's awesome to be able to do. But I mean, the team was awesome tonight. They made it so easy. The boys helped me out the whole night. Our line was buzzing, I thought, all night, and so I feel really, really lucky to come to this team and have such a great start.
Yeah, talk about the goal tonight. How special a moment was that?
I mean, yeah, just seeing the puck go in the back of the net, that's always a good feeling. I mean, great start, and yeah, just so happy to be here.
Now, we probably should point out that not all games finish 8-0. There will be a few tighter contests. You might get one tomorrow against Nottingham, but what hopes do you have for the rest of this season in terms of being here in Belfast?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we got to stay even keel. It can't get too high, can't get too low. So just focus on tomorrow. And then, I mean, we got 3 championships on the line here coming up. So I can't wait to contribute in every way I can and hopefully bring it home for the city of Belfast.
Thanks to Giants TV for those, and the highlights are available from Giants TV. We're going to crack on because we're going to have Jeff Baum waiting for us. We're already, about 40 minutes in, so we're going to have Jeff Baum waiting for us, but we're going to crack on with the last game of the 4, and that was, of course, the 6-1 victory over the Nottingham Panthers. Matt McLeod makes it 2-2 with the opener. Henrik Eriksson, David Goodwin, Steve Owery, Lewis Hook, and McLeod with another one to make it 6. And Stephen Anderson, the other side on the power play with the goalie pulled as well. Pulled the only one back for the Nottingham Panthers. Tyler Beskorowany, 29 shots on, 1 goal against. Peyton Jones on his return to Belfast, 32 shots on, 6 goals against Andy Dalton and Danny Ferguson referees. Another sellout crowd, Simon, and another comprehensive victory.
Again, another game that started off, it could have went either way in the first period. The Panthers did really well in the first. Besko caught a couple of big saves. He had a really, really big save in the second period. To keep it. I think it was still tied at that point. I think we were down, but again, I use the word professional for every game that we've talked about tonight for the last week, and that's exactly what it was. Adam, we always talk about the players. You've got to talk about Adam here. 4 games preparation, and himself, Stewie, and George. Getting ready for the games isn't easy, especially when you're one after another. And I know how thorough he is, and with everything that he does, he basically, what his attitude's like with regards to trying to win, and that hasn't changed from the day and hour that he stepped into Belfast. Come up big with a couple of decisions again. Jigging around, putting that line together. Donny, Minnie Cooper, and Matt McLeod. And to basically come up with, I'm pretty sure they had, Matt had 3-0 the weekend. I think Donny had 4 assists, and I think Minnie Cooper had 1 and 4. And for the first time that these guys are playing together, if that's the way that they're going to continue playing this season, I'm bringing on. I want more of it. But I just thought we absolutely, once we got the second goal, I knew that we weren't going to lose. Besko was dialed in defensively. We're missing Josh Roach, we're missing Mark Garside, we're missing Jeff Baum. And again, you're basically trying to make sure you've got everybody pulling on the rope together, because the forwards nearly need to do their jobs. Even more importantly, because Gabe Bast, Sam Rue up and all are playing upwards of 25 minutes. So to do that, to come out, Ben Lake jumped on defensive shift, and so did Mark Cooper. Just outstanding, absolutely outstanding. You got to say, Peyton Jones was left hanging on a few occasions, especially late in the third period when Nottingham just didn't really turn up for the third. But that's what you do when you're playing against a good team. We are starting to click. It's still 12 games to go. We'll take one at a time. But I'll tell you what, we're going to give a game to every single team that we're up against for the remainder of the season.
David, Simon comprehensively covered a lot of that as well. But, McLeod has offered a lot of speed going forward. But also defensively, we had to be strong. And like I said a few minutes ago, the Nottingham Panthers had to go on the power play and put on an extra man there before they could score.
Mate, how many times to say it, speed kills. And, McLeod's come in and he's re-energized that line. Obviously, playing a bit short in the back end gives a lot of different things to think about. Like, I need to apologize first and foremost about this video footage. This is my fault. It's not the fault of the video. I've made a bit of a balls out tonight, so apologies on that. Me and Neil Whiteside will work on this this week. Couple of things to take from the game. Great to see Hank getting the goal. He has worked his socks off since he got here.
I agree.
I've read different
100%.
bits of critique about, just because goals aren't coming doesn't mean you're not contributing. We talked a while ago, but when we were talking about changing players, and you change guys that are not contributing. Should that be points? Should that be assists? Should that be forecheck, back check? If you're not contributing any of them, Henrik Eriksson, for me, I've been watching him closely. I think he's been outstanding since he came in, to be honest. Really good to see him getting that goal. I think he's pretty thrilled with himself. Scott Conway, Simon talked earlier about him. They're not getting goals on Saturday night, coming up with another 3 points, moving on to 189 points for the Giants, 91 on the season. Absolutely ridiculous numbers this kid has. David Goodwin hot in his heels. I think he overtook Colin Ward. Scott Conway overtook Colin Ward and Paxton Schulte in the same week in all-time points, and David Goodwin hot in his heels comes in and overtakes Colin Ward as well. So those 2 boys have been outstanding. And that goal there, that's the one where Collins holds off Luke Ferrara's, like nearly giving Ferrara a piggyback, and can still one-hand the pass across. Lovely little toe drag from Ori. I think Adam talked about it after the first Panthers game, Valentine's night, and I don't think don't take this as being critical. He's that streaky kind of player. He's a real confidence player. Once he's feeling confident, my goodness, he can find the back of the net. And he's got, like, I can't remember whether it's Simon or whether it was Dicko, somebody talking about his silky mitts. When he's in front of nets, he has scored some real highlight reel goals. And I go back to, you know what my feelings about Chris Higgins are still, and the ability he had to undress D-men and score goals he had no right doing. Steve Orry has that. He's just got a finisher's touch. He doesn't panic. He's one of those. I talked about Brian Robson in football. He can slow everything that's happening in front of him down. It seems like he's got more time than he has because of the vision he has. And another really great finish there to round off another. Hey, who doesn't love beating the Panthers? I do.
It's very true. It's very true. And again, having such a let's just quickly before, because I know we've got Jeff Baum waiting, but Simon, this is the second solid crowd of the weekend. The East tier is in. These guys, we talked earlier about these guys going out and playing in front of 7,000 people. You heard from Matt McLeod just mention it there. But from your point of view, working behind the scenes, the amount of effort that goes in to bring all these people in, it's just rewards.
Yeah, it is. I mean, since Christmas. I mean, actually, you know what? It's probably just before Christmas. We got the new lights in. The investment the Odyssey Trust to put in with the new lights, and Glover and as the volunteers behind the scenes and the OSC have done their part. The likes of the ops team. It's not just. It's not just one. It's not just the players that basically should get all the plaudits for this. Yes, it definitely helps when you're winning. There's no doubt about that. But it's everybody behind the scenes. The whole organization now just seem to be pulling in the same direction. It's when you see the Zamboni drivers driving about with their Giants jackets on, all the ops team have got their Giants jackets, all the commercial team, all the everybody's got all the comms team, everybody's got, and everybody's buying into it. We're doing a lot more external advertising with regards to digital screens. That's definitely helping. Word of mouth, when you basically come to a Giants game now, there's always something happening, and it's all about tell your friends, get them to come along. It looks like we're going to have the East End in for most of the games. In March, after we have we've got the okay to put it up for the cup final, obviously, which is completely sold out. It's all gone.
Remarkable.
There's not a seat left. It's going to be the same that weekend. It looks like we've got double header against Coventry in the 4th and 5th. I think the Saturday's going to sell out. The Sunday, because people can't get tickets for the Saturday, they'll probably come on the Sunday. I mean, with 6,900 on Sunday there, which is insane. It's absolutely insane. And it's fantastic. The atmosphere around the arena is brilliant at the minute. But again, it's a whole team effort. Everybody's pulling together. You've got so much happening, whether it's from the sponsors are doing giveaways on the evening, or the new wheel of cams that Neil and the production team have come up with. They've got a karaoke cam, you've got a dance cam, you've got a bongo cam. They've got all these different things, and he does the wheel around it at the start to see wherever it lands, that's what you do, and everybody's buying into it. It's just great crack, it's great to see. I was talking to Steve the other day about it, and yes, right at the very start, there was 23 years ago now, but they said it would never last. What? You go through a lot of reporters' comments that we've had over the year. What a biggest load of crap that was. 23 years in, we're stronger than ever. And
Here.
Said this to a friend of mine the other day when he phoned me about he sent me a text about the 20s. The import was saying 22nd, I think it is. You're not allowed 22. And as I said to him, we're the Belfast Giants. We'll do what we want. I had to keep it PG there. And now, yes, he knows we're joking about that. But Steve Thornton is outstanding. Steve Thornton is, he does everything right. And I mean everything right. So if we can sign the 22nd import, that's exactly what he's done. We do everything right with regards to the way we treat the players. We do everything right the way we treat them, on the ice. What we can do with them, with the partners that we have now, whether it's fantastic in the Better Gym, or whether it's the partners that we have at Hollywood Golf Club. The boys can go and play golf at Hollywood Golf Club and enjoy themselves down there as well. We just tick all the boxes. And it makes it an awful lot easier. And then you've got the Ulster University and the Sal University and all the cars that they get. We just do things right. And as I say,
it's worked out really well.
So,
and it makes it even easier when the team are winning games and winning games comprehensively, as they've been doing.
100%.
The highlights from this game are from Giants TV, as they've been all over the weekend. Get involved with those and check them out, because they're very well worth watching. Right, time for the fan agenda, brought to you by our friends at Belfast Giants TV. Big apologies to him and a big thank you to him. We're joined by Jeff Baum. How are you doing, Bomber?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
What's the shirt?
It's a Ryan Suter jersey.
Why
Yeah,
and why?
American defenseman right there. American-born defenseman. He plays in Dallas now, so just a big fan of his growing up.
And that's so you've got. Is it a game worn shirt?
I believe so, yeah. But
Very
it's signed
nice.
by him, so it's a little ambiance in the room. Thought I'd use it
Very
for
nice.
the podcast.
Well, no, it's all right. You don't have a Derek Wilkinson, first season Belfast Giants shirt, though. You know what I mean?
No, I don't have one.
I don't know who this.
Yeah.
Don't know who this Suter guy is. That's Derek Wilkinson. Tell us this. We've just been talking about it there, about performing in front of big crowds and the way the Belfast Giants. We've had a comprehensive week. We've had 8 points. We've had big crowds. The atmosphere within the room must be great.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the guys are all on a high right now. We're playing really well, and being able to come home in front of all these fans and having sellouts like we did this last weekend, and even leading up to this weekend, the fans have been great. And at the moment, things are going really well. We just got to keep that positivity moving forward and keep on rolling.
Bomber, you talk about the fans, and we've just been talking about the crowds that have been coming in lately there. Todd Kelman, whenever the Giants first came around, whatever, 20 odd years ago, used to say that the Belfast Giants players in Belfast almost got rock star treatment. They were so highly thought of in the community, and you can see that as well. And hopefully you feel the love from the fans and stuff like that. But what's it like that your dad's a bigger celebrity in Belfast than you, and he has never put the skates on for the club?
No, I mean, my dad's always like that. He's always just up in front and center and, trying to be as supportive as he can. And I think he was even more excited for me to come here last year and then to be welcomed the way that we were. And the way the fans have been treating both him and myself has just been incredible. So, I mean, yeah, that's my dad. He's always out there just trying to be an FMF.
Is he going to get him? Is he going to get himself back in the building before the end of the season?
Yeah, they're going to try and come over in March. So we'll get him back over here.
Look forward to seeing him again. And then I'll just go on a little bit of hockey. In the last couple of weeks, obviously, there's probably more than yourself playing a bit banged up. Is that just, we're just in the stretch now? I think it was Jordan Boucher last year called them the dog days. Sometimes you've just got to go through that little bit of adversity and you just have to, bite down on your lip and keep going.
Yeah, 100%. We're just getting down to the nitty gritty at this point in the season and just got to bury your head and go to work whenever you can and battle through whatever adversity is put in front of us.
Bomber, you've set up a really good relationship with Matt Foley. You've just clicked, and it's a bit like the relationship and the playing partnership you had with Mark Garside last year. Obviously, Gary being a veteran and still looking like a rookie. It's one of those ones where, can you tell us what the partnership with Gary brought for you? I mean, we all know he's steady Eddie. We all know he just does the simple things right. But how did that help you in your first year in Belfast?
No, Gary was great for me last year. I thought, from the day one, we clicked pretty well together. We got along pretty well. He took me under his wing at the beginning of the season and, helped me get through the start and what it's really going to be like in this league. And I think Gary is somebody that can't ever be replaced and what he's done for the Giants and, who he is and off the ice and everything that he's always been able to do. I think having him last year for my first season to take me in and guide me through the first year highs and lows was, an incredible experience.
And again, Matt Foley this year, you played the majority of the season, probably since, end of October anyway, onwards with Matt. And how have you guys got on and obviously on and off the ice?
Yeah, it's been great. We communicate a lot on the ice and off the ice, trying to talk about stuff. And, I think we both kind of bought into what our role is going to be for the team and try and provide however we can. And I think, our chemistry is just built from the first time we got on the ice together, and it's been a lot of fun playing with him this year.
I think that, obviously we've got next week is the Challenge Cup final. And, I remember the photograph that I have with you and your dad on the ice after that as well, which was which was a keeper. But that spurred on the team. Success breeds success, and it gives you that thirst. Coming back into a Challenge Cup final next week, how excited are you for that?
No, I think everybody's very excited, myself included. We're hearing all the buzz about the sellout crowd and everything's just leading up to this game. But at the same time, we still got games this weekend that we got to focus on and get ready for and, get through that so that when it comes down to it, we're in a good place to win the league again. And, we'll take the Challenge Cup on Wednesday and go to work on Fife and hopefully come out with a good win.
We do have a question from Margaret Patterson asking you, how do the Giants fans compare to what you've faced in the past? But of course, you coming in pro, it must be great to have this sort of atmosphere in the building.
Yeah, best fans in the league without a doubt, 100%.
But also, we have this situation where we've got a lot of home games in the stretch coming in towards chasing this title. We've gone top of the league. How much of a psychological element is that to you guys?
I think it's huge coming into the, like we said earlier, the nitty-gritty days, be able to be at home and, in front of our fans, and also being able to stay in our own beds and being comfortable, is a huge advantage for us. But I also think, we're playing all these home games now at the end of the year because we played so many road games to start the season. And I think that's also just as important, everybody go on the road and getting to know each other pretty well to start the season kind of helps build up to this point now where we have all these home games back to back to back for these games that really mean a lot.
Bomber, I love the psychology of that, and it's probably been, would it be right, Simon, at least 10 years now, where in the autumn time we have had long stretches where we've maybe only had a couple of games at home, 10 away, 2 at home, something like that.
Easy.
How important is that kind of bonding to create that team atmosphere for whenever you get into the January, February, March, when it's really important?
Yeah, I think it's huge. At the end of the day, it's a team sport, and everybody's got to be able to get along with each other and work together as one unit. And I think, having those days through the adversity that we faced at the beginning of the season and everything, going on the road together and being with a group, it just helps build that camaraderie for later in the season.
And then we were just talking earlier before you came on, we were talking about signing Matt McLeod, signing extra guys towards the Esco, obviously coming in and having, when everybody's fit and everybody's well, we should have those couple of extra guys. How important will that be when we look back on the likes of last year when Rayner took the bad injury towards the end of the season, when Bush had to sit out in the playoffs? You're better looking at these players than looking for them.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like Kitchie was saying a minute ago, Thorts has done a great job, and so has Kiefer. We've really set ourselves up for this last push here and to bring in these new guys to help out in whatever way they can, and they've been tremendous help so far. And I think when we get down to those playoff games in the end of the season, it's important that we have guys that are next man up and ready to work.
Bomber, I just want to finish with, we see how intense Scott Conway is. Now you sit, 2 or 3 lockers away from him. You played with him in Providence. Was he the same in college as he is here? He just wants to win at everything. It doesn't matter what he's doing, and the compete level in practice, the compete level in games, it doesn't matter what he's doing. He just wants to win.
You said it right there. Yeah, it's all Cons knows how to do is win. Whether it's on the golf course, playing a board game, playing cards, it's all he ever wants to do. I think it's huge. It helps out everybody. When we're practicing, everybody brings out the best of everybody. Sometimes it can be a good pick-me-up if you're just looking for a good laugh and you just see Cons going full tilt and you're just wondering what's going through his head. But you know that he's going to bring it every night and every day at practice and helps build everybody's character and their work ethic for the whole entire team.
Have you heard anybody better than chirping guys that's basically skating? I mean, we all know Taft's a bit of a chirper as well, and you get a good close-up view of that. But I mean, Cons is pretty spectacular with some of the chirps he comes off and some of the sellies that he has.
Oh yeah, he's always got to have the last line and make sure everybody sees him front and center. And I think he shines in that spotlight, and much rather have him on my side than anywhere else.
I just noticed there's last week you've the 2 goals in Guildford. Lewis Hook obviously causes a bit of a melee after his celebration. There's a little bit of a scrum in front. Ben Lake obviously ends up kicked out of the game. Basti scores, gets put to the penalty box but see the first goal, if you go back, it might actually be the third goal. Scott Conway stands in front of McAdam and just screams at him, just gives him the absolute death and gets nothing. So I'm sure Gabe Bass skates in the change room in the period intermission. What have I to do here? But yeah, Cons we were talking about numbers there, Bomber, just before he came on. 91 on the season already, 189 and just short shy of 2 seasons for the Giants. And he'll be disappointed if he comes off for the game and doesn't score. It's like the end of the world for him.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's an incredible player, and I think 91 points. I'll be lucky to get that in my career, and he's got it in one season. The guy works so hard. He deserves it, and whenever he's got that puck on his stick, guys can't take it away from him. He's able to always find a way through tiny little holes and make plays, and whenever he's got that puck, especially that goal that he assisted on Steve's, everybody's focused in on Cons, and then he makes a nice pass, and I was able to make a dirty move on Jonesy, his old roomie, and put it in the back of the net.
Just a couple. Sorry, Pat. I just wanted to touch on one thing. It was, see this guy up here. Oh, sorry, up there. It was hitting the point that it was 393 days since their last goal. Which way is he there?
Oh, you're right there. You're right there. Yeah.
It was Davy that pointed out there's 393 goals for your first goal this season. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I try and pride myself on the defensive side of the game, but wherever I can contribute offensively, I try to. And last year I was fortunate enough to get that first one kind of early in the year and get it out of the way quick. This one kind of took a while, but still got it. It's all that matters. It was a great pass by Steve, and I was able to find the back of the net finally. But hopefully we can keep rolling after that one and just providing whatever way I can on the ice.
I was looking through photographs the other day, and I think you scored exhibition pre-season last season in one of the exhibition games before the start of the season.
This year or last year?
Last year,
last season,
or maybe it was this year.
But I think you're against Dundee,
yeah. I think your dad's been in the building a couple of times when you scored goals, hasn't he? So let's get Jeff back.
We need him over here more often. Apparently,
let's get him over more often.
It's funny. I don't even know if they were watching that game when I scored. My uncles and my aunt or my uncle texted me and was like, "Oh, didn't see your goal. I heard you scored." I was like, "Whoa." You don't watch every time.
Your dad gets some coverage. I've even got a tweet in here from Neve saying, Jeff, on a scale of 1 to 10, how jealous were you when you found out that your dad had met Tyler Seguin and Wyatt Johnson this year?
Yeah, no, my dad's, y'all know my dad pretty well. He's a great guy. He meets a lot of people, and selling cars to some pretty cool people, and it's not a bad gig for him.
Not bad at all.
I get texts from him every game. He texts me. I said the Bomber after the game on Saturday night. Bomber took a bit of a knock on Saturday evening. He had to leave the game early. I get a text from Jeff Senior going, "Catch his Bomber. Is Jeff okay?" I had to text him, Jeff, I'm in the middle of comms. He's in the dressing room. I've no idea. I'll ask him when I get down there. And when I get down there at the locker room, I said the Bomber, I said, "Your dad texted me to see how you are." Yeah, I was just on the phone to him. It's all right.
Yeah. Definitely call off guard.
Just a couple of things just to close out. One of them is the fact that we spoke there about the new names and new faces that have come into the locker room, but most notably, none of them defensively. You've lost the fact you lost. Unfortunately, we lost Kevin Rain to retirement through injury. But how much confidence does that put in you that the names that have come in have been forward? That the confidence is in you guys as a defensive unit to see the season through.
Yeah, I think all 6 of us back there on the back end. We've been playing really well of late, and everybody's clicking together, and we're working as a whole entire group and as a unit of 6. And I think that's really helping the team forward. And I think that with these signings, it does build a little bit of confidence for myself and for the rest of the guys. But at the same time, we know that we're those guys that need to step up and make those plays defensively, so that when it comes down to it all, that our forwards can just get the puck, put it in the back of the net, and guys like Bassey and Will can help out offensively whenever they feel like it.
Simon has just corrected me. Of course, Josh Roach has come in, but I see him more as a winger, the way that he plays.
Yeah.
Also, you mix him up with Will Cullen, so it's fine. And finally, we got the 2 games this weekend over Glasgow and what could be a dress rehearsal in Fife. How are preparations going?
Good. We're getting ready mentally, physically, building it up just as much as these games are as any other night. And Keeper's been saying it for a little while now. Great faces. Doesn't matter who we're playing against, as long as we show up and we play our game the way that we know we can, we'll be able to put ourselves in a good position to be in a great spot after 60 minutes.
Fantastic. Well, listen, good luck this weekend and with the Cup final. Yeah. And thanks for coming on and joining us, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Big thanks to Jeff Baum, who waited quite a while to come on there. So we really appreciate him taking the time to join us. Right. some more players to hear from. Simon popped down to training, and let's hear what had to happen there.
Laker, we're getting into the busy part of the season, coming down the stretch here. 12 games left in the league. A cup final to look forward to, and then the playoffs. One game at a time. Glasgow's up next.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we're in a pretty good run of form right now, so I think we just keep doing what we're doing and focus about the next game. Obviously, Glasgow, and then I think Fife, and then Fife again in the Challenge Cup final. So just take each night as it comes, and hopefully we can keep going along.
Some chemistry built up over the last few weeks with Lewis Hook and Mark Cooper again, and once you see get it rolling, it's hard to stop.
Yeah, obviously familiar with both guys. Played together quite a lot over the last 2 years, so it's good. It's always nice to get things clicking with line mates. So I think we all bring a similar game. Hard work, strong in the corners, and can finish opportunities when we get them. So I think as long as we're contributing, then that's going to help the team win games.
The weekend just passed, obviously we're down a few bodies. You had to drop out down the back end. Is that where you see yourself being a Mark Forsyth and later in your career type of person?
No, I don't know about that. But yeah, just obviously we were down a lot of bodies, and we needed somebody to fill in. So I was happy to do that. And I don't know if it's in my future. I don't know if I enjoyed it too much.
Come on, cheers, Becker. 4 big wins last week, mate. A couple of big goals for yourself. Just keep this truck rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all it's about. Is we're on a bit of a streak right now, but we're in a good position in the league. But the eyes is obviously next Wednesday in the Challenge Cup final. Now, we have 2 league games to do this weekend in Scotland, which are every game's important now. It's like a playoff game. But yeah, like you just said, we just got to keep this truck rolling now.
Sunday, Glasgow, coming off the back of an 8-0 defeat in Belfast last week. They'll be hurting. They'll want to put a better performance on, and I'm sure you expect that.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously every team at home is a different game, So, we have to travel up to Scotland, and we have to kind of, approach every game the same way as if, like we do at home, and, bring the energy from the first puck drop.
You're wearing white today?
Yeah.
What's happening?
I think we're just doing a little bit of some mini games today, so we're in 3 teams.
Who's in your team?
I got Carl. Gary's not skating, but I think Goody's our captain. Cully. We have a good team.
You gonna win?
Oh yeah.
Adam, a very successful week for you last week. 8 points out of 4 games, 4 tough games. A couple of bodies down, especially at the weekend. You must be really happy as a coaching staff, but very, very happy as a group.
Yeah, it was a great week of hockey. Obviously, one we knew there was a potential banana peel there with 4 games in a week, and coming off the break, but I think the players completely understand where we're at in the standings and where we're at in the season. This is essentially a playoff stretch here. It's just a little different than they're used to in terms of you play the weekend's games and then take a few days off, get ready for the next, and you have a different opponent each weekend. So, but the guys are completely bought in, and now we're on the phase of a little bit of a rest, and now we're getting back on the ice.
This weekend, it's Glasgow and Fife. An 8-0 victory over Glasgow last weekend. You're expecting a different team to face this weekend?
Yeah, certainly. I think that it's not the Glasgow Clan team that we've faced in the past either. We just broke them down. Things didn't go their way, and then I think that they were focusing a little bit on the next night. They had a big game against Manchester, so I fully expect a much better Glasgow team at home, and it's going to be a battle this weekend. Obviously, Fife is playing really well right now as well, and there's going to be a little bit more drama to that game and what's going to happen on the Wednesday following that. So we're certainly going to have to be at our best this weekend.
Obviously, if it's something to look forward to in 10 days' time, but you've 2 big games in between times. It's still concentrating on league action. What's the body count like? Obviously, you had a couple of bodies down the weekend.
Yeah, we're a little light right now. More precaution than anything, I think, at the minute. And we'll see as of Friday where we're at going into the weekend with bodies.
Top man, thank you.
No problem, thank you.
Big thanks to Laker Lewis Hook and to Kiefer and his Autoplex Customs hat just after Jeff Baum's been on. So big hello to the Baum family. Yeah, and thanks to Simon for popping down and picking those up. Right, a bit of news. The main story on the news, what can you think it'd be? It's that despite holding a 2-goal advantage on aggregate going into the final period of the second leg of the Challenge Cup semi-final at home to the Flyers, Todd Dudiam's team fought back and almost beat the Steelers in regulation, but for a last gasp equaliser. Didn't matter though, the Flyers won in the shootout, Mikael Johansson taking the plaudits and sending Fife to join us next Wednesday at the SSE Arena in what is now a sold-out arena. How shocked were you, David?
About what?
About the Steelers being knocked out at home like that?
Didn't really bother me one way or the other. Steelers, yeah.
I think it says Aaron Fox getting a lot of stick for being a bit of a bottle job.
Rightly so. Tighten them up. Now, I have a wee story to tell you. I got a phone call the night after Fife beat them in Sheffield in the first leg from Barry McKenzie. And Barry said to me, he says, "Hey, Kitchie, can you do us a favour?" He says, my girlfriend and wants to bring her and the baby over for the final. And they need to get a lift from the airport, but the baby does it need a taxi? Need a car seat here? And I said, well, it's licensed and you don't need it. Anyway, and I said, love the attitude. He says, we're going to Sheffield to win. So that attitude came out of, that was 3 weeks before that game, that second leg came. And Fife were going to win. And what a comeback. Like, I mean, I was watching it, I had it on my phone. Absolutely brilliant. You know, and this is what I keep on saying. I haven't seen anybody from the Belfast Giants fan base saying that we're going to, the happy days, best thing could ever happen. Fife are going to come in here, we're going to pump a life out of them. Yes, we'll beat them, convincingly in a few games this season. But I'll tell you something, they're not coming here just to make the numbers up. They're bringing nearly 1,000 fans down to Belfast on a Wednesday night when everybody else said that it's an absolute waste of time. You can't get here. Logistically impossible. What a biggest load of tosh. They're coming in here and they're coming to win. And if they can go to Sheffield and come back from 3-0 down on the night, they get it back to 3-3 or 3-2, and then obviously win it in the shootout, they can get a result in Belfast. So let's not make any mistake about that. Fife are a decent team when they're playing well. Shane Owen gets going. He's a good goalie. We know that he's played for us for 3/4 of a season for the lockdown game. But the Fife Flyers they're capable of beating any team in this league, and they've got to show them the respect they deserve. Fantastic to have them in the final. Fantastic for the atmosphere that's going to be in the arena next Wednesday night with that fan base, and they will make some noise, believe you me.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more, Simon. And like I think I said on Twitter that my thoughts go back to a Challenge Cup final 20 years ago when we thought that we were going in against the Irish Scottish Eagles, who'd we comprehensively beaten all season long. We'd won the league, we comprehensively beaten all season long, and we went into a sold-out SSE Arena thinking this was going to be a cakewalk. The night after we played the Nottingham Panthers, and we got stuffed. And rightly so. And the Irish Scottish Eagles walked away with it because I don't think that we showed them the respect that we should have done. And we will be respecting Fife coming in, because when it comes to a final, Davy, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. And Simon has referenced their one key player for me, probably in Shane Owen. You let Shane Owen get hot, he is one of the premium goaltenders in this league. Unfortunately for Shane, a few times that he's faced this season, he's got rattled earlier on, and we've scored bunches. We've scored goals in bunches as we have in several games this season. So, the key for the game is going to be how both teams come out in that first period. If it's going to be a cagey affair, well, then that could be the whole way through the game. Or if it opens up in the bit like we talked about in the Guildford Flame earlier, if it turns into a bit of a track meet, then it could go one of two ways. But nobody to take lightly in this league, and I agree with Simon. Haven't heard anybody say this is a foregone conclusion, and it's. But at the same time, the next most important game is the Glasgow Clan. We'll not be looking to next Wednesday night until next Tuesday night.
Absolutely. Let's have just a brief look at the standings, because something we haven't done. But funnily enough, now we're going to look at them. We haven't done it all season. The Belfast Giants at top with 65 points. Guildford have 2 games on us, but on 63 points. Cardiff, who won tonight against the Clan, are on 62 points. Sheffield, who lost tonight in Manchester 3-1, are on 61 points. Coventry are more or less going to finish in 5th because they're 11 points behind the Steelers and 14 points ahead of the Storm. In 36, we have that win tonight. Nottingham Panthers 7th on 34. Fife, Nottingham, Glasgow, and Dundee seem to be in a bit of a battle there. Certainly, Fife and Glasgow probably in a battle there for the last playoff spot. Dundee, 24 points from 40 games at the bottom of the league.
I don't think Nottingham are out of this playoff spot yet. I think they could get into that.
I don't think they've got it wrapped up yet, not at all, especially not the way they're playing.
Agreed.
I think it's going to be a hell of a battle down there. Not one that their fans thought they'd be part of, but unlucky. And one last comment is that Jonathan Phillips in that game, that unfortunate loss to the Manchester Storm and Altrincham, has racked up his 1,000th EHL game for the Sheffield Steelers. He'd already got 1,000 games in the Elite League in the 2019-20 season, but this is the 1,000th EHL. Elite Ice Hockey. Yeah, I know. I'm one of those nights, mate. Elite Ice Hockey League games for the Sheffield Steelers, and that's not to be sniffed at from not just a top quality player with longevity, Davy, but a good lad besides.
Yeah, look, when you think of him, he'll go down alongside the Tates, the Weavers, the Shields, Gary Garside when he decides to call it a day. All these guys who have been premium British players, not just. I think that's quite condescending, and I know that some of the British guys would feel very condescended by that. Some of the top players that have played in this league, they just happen to be British. To suit up 1,000 times for one team is absolutely exceptional in any sport. You wouldn't very, very few sports that would do it. The likes of the baseball and stuff as well.
Baseball,
play multiple games per season. So all those. What's that, mate?
Per day.
Yeah, that's true as well. 2 games in a day.
But absolute congratulations from us here in Belfast to him. It's an incredible feat, and I hope he feels the urge to keep going. As Simon talked about earlier on, he's still contributing, still playing good amount of minutes per night. Maybe down the line's not the same level he's been playing over the last 20 years, but while he's contributing, he'll want to be hanging in there. He'll be wanting to put the red, white, and blue on come the end of the season as well in the World Championships. How crucial he's been to that program over the years as well. And they'll not be looking forward to the day when he calls it a day there. So, but just hearty congratulations to him. I think it's a really, really great feat.
So he gives a rousing speech for Team GB, as that video showed when it came out.
Absolutely. He certainly gets guys up for that, and I mean that game was incredible as well. But Davy's already said it. Congratulations to Jonathan Phillips. It's there's not many times we're very positive about anything Sheffield, but this is one that needs to be applauded. It's for to play 1,000 games in any sport, as Davy touched on, and not even touching on 1,000 games for one team. It's an unbelievable achievement, and I managed. I've talked to him a couple of times. I spoke to him to get the video for Taft's birthday a couple of years ago, and he couldn't be nicer. His time was no problem at all. Anything you need, give us a shout. He gave me the numbers for quite a few other guys that I need to get in touch with as well. An absolute gentleman. Captain of Team GB. I'm saying the hard thing is Mark Richardson had 1,000 games. Jonathan Phillips is now 1,200, whatever it is. Matt Myers had 1,000 games. 3 lads that grew up in Cardiff, all watching the Cardiff Devils, all played for the Cardiff Devils. It's just goes to show. I mean, even when you look back at Neil Francis and Jason Stone, there's so many, Stevie Lyle, so many good British players have come out of the Cardiff Devils system as well. So, fantastic. I didn't see that. What was that at the bottom?
I agree with you, and I had the opportunity to meet him in Manchester once, and a really, really nice guy, really top guy, and just unfortunate that the 1,000th game for the Sheffield Steelers ended as a 3-1 loss to the Manchester Storm. Well. Right, Belfast Giants play 2 games this weekend prior to the game next Wednesday, a week today, when they'll be taking on the Fife Flyers in the Challenge Cup final. 1 week from now, that game should be over. we'll see how that goes. They're away to the Glasgow Clan Saturday at 7 p.m. at Braehead Arena on Clan TV, and then they travel down the road to Kirkcaldy to face the Fife Flyers in what will be a dress rehearsal for that Challenge Cup final Sunday at 6 p.m. at Fife Ice Arena. If you're not going over there for that, you'll get that on Flyers TV. And we're just going to move on. Any other business, boys? I'm going to start with any other business, if that's okay. And I just want to say a big congratulations to Dahi McGowan and the family. A lot of hard work's gone into this. And obviously they were in London today with regards to the amendment, the parliamentary amendment that is going to push Dahi's law through. We spoke to him the other week, and we talked about how devastated they were about how it was being held up, how disgraceful that was. But now it looks like Dahi's law is going to go through. So we want to send our heartfelt congratulations to Dahi and Marcin family, just everything that's went through with that, and it's just right that that's happened.
Absolutely, 100%, David. Or probably sorry, you're 100% right. It's fantastic news.
Any other business wise?
I have a couple of bits. Oh, do you want to? Mine's on the lighter end of things. I've seen comments on tonight, and I've seen comments right from Saturday. Miley Axon, age 10. Came on to Odyssey Ice at the weekend and skated during one of the period breaks, did a little bit of figure skating, really engaged the crowd, was almost flawless and seemed to really love it. And just congratulations to her. Must be a really big thing to do at 10 years old, a sold out arena. So hopefully we'll get to see more of that kind of stuff in the future. So congratulations, Miley.
I have a couple of things. Bear with me, boys. Firstly, can't wait to have Laura Smallback. She's been out of action under reserve here the last 10 days and being missed in the office. So work wife, get better soon. OSC are holding a bowling event next Wednesday night. Sorry, Tuesday night. No, it's not. Tuesday the 7th, not next week.
I was going to say, it can't be next Wednesday night, mate.
Tuesday the 7th of March. Sold out in 20 minutes. Just unbelievable. So many thanks to the OSC committee and the OSC members. Fantastic. Decathlon last night. 350 Giants fans turned up to get autographs of some of the boys that turned up last night. And on Sunday night after the game, we held a signing session on the bridge. All the boys were there, bar Will, Colin and Tyler Soy, who were feeling under the weather. And believe it or not, from the bridge going anti-clockwise was the whole way around. The queue was the whole way around the McCool's bar. Insane. And the boys stayed and did absolutely everybody in the queue. So we're there for nearly 2 hours signing autographs. Brilliant. Just fantastic, absolutely brilliant. Wonderful. And finally, congratulations to Pizza Guys. We were one of our partners who became the #1 takeaway in the UK last night.
Oh, did they win a prize?
They won a national prize for the best takeaway.
Fantastic. I'm flying home, and it's only around the corner from where my mum and dad live. I'll be popping down to get one.
Sort of like,
congratulations to
you. Have to try. I'm saying it from a friend, but you have to try the Nutella dough balls. They're unbelievable, allegedly.
Dough balls.
I saw Smallsy's Instagram or whatever earlier on. She got her hands on some balls earlier, so
I had to go and drop mine. I had to go and drop them off for her.
Oh, you did? You were the delivery man, were you?
Delivery man, yeah.
And on that note, but no, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And yes, get well soon to Laura. Is that it, boys? Are we done? Those two games, as I said, this weekend, away to the Glasgow Clan Saturday at 7 p.m. in Braehead. If you're not going over to that, Clan TV is where you'll get it. And then the Fife Flyers Sunday at 6 p.m. at Fife Ice Arena. Get that on Flyers TV. Big thanks to Jeff Baum for joining us. Big thanks to Davy for sorting out all the videos. Big thanks to you, Simon, for getting the interviews down at training and the likes of that. You can get us on at AVFTB on Twitter, on Facebook, kingdomofthegiants.com, podcast at kingdomofthegiants.com. Gary Crook's still sending the Viaduct emails. Keep them coming, Gary, right to the end of the season. You can get us on Anchor FM, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and Spotify, and all that sort of stuff. Thanks, gentlemen. Good to see us. We've got one more show before the Challenge Cup final, so we'll see you next Tuesday. Excuse me. And wherever you are this weekend, we hope you enjoy your hockey. We'll catch you here next time on A View from the Bridge.
Still you rise.